Can I actually figure out if America's debt crisis is being bought up this fast? The U.S. national debt crisis. It's a term we hear a lot about, but do we really understand what's going on? The numbers are staggering, and it's not just politicians who are worried. The average American should be concerned too, because this debt affects us all. The current U.S. national debt is over $28 trillion. To put that into perspective, that's more than the combined GDP of China, Japan, and Germany. And it's not just the size of the debt that's the problem, it's the trajectory. The U.S. has been running massive deficits for years, and that debt is growing faster than the economy. This is a crisis because at some point, the bills have to be paid. The potential negative implications are serious. High levels of debt can lead to higher interest rates, which can slow down the economy. It can also lead to inflation, which erodes the purchasing power of the dollar. And in the worst-case scenario, it can lead to a debt crisis, where investors lose confidence in the U.S.'s ability to pay its debts. But here's the thing. Despite all these risks, the debt keeps piling up. The U.S. government is issuing more and more bonds to finance its spending, and investors are buying them up. But who exactly is buying all this debt? Major buyers of U.S. debt include traditional players like foreign governments, particularly China and Japan, which have been holding large amounts of U.S. Treasury bonds for years. But emerging players are also entering the scene. Countries like Saudi Arabia and India are starting to diversify their reserves into U.S. Treasuries. And it's not just governments. Individual investors and institutions are also buying up U.S. debt. Their motivations vary, but often it's about seeking safe haven assets or diversifying portfolios. However, there's a surprising twist. Some of the biggest buyers of U.S. debt aren't who you'd expect. For example, did you know that a significant portion of U.S. debt is being bought up by U.S. banks themselves? They're using the Federal Reserve's cheap money to buy treasuries, which in turn helps to finance the government spending. It's a bit like rolling over the debt rather than paying it down. The implications of this are complex. On one hand, it shows that there's still demand for U.S. debt, which keeps borrowing costs low. On the other hand, it raises questions about the sustainability of this approach. Are we just kicking the can down the road, or is there a more fundamental solution to the U.S. debt crisis? So what's the takeaway? The U.S. debt crisis is still a pressing issue, but it's being bought up by a range of players, from traditional foreign governments to U.S. banks themselves. The question is, for how long? The future implications are uncertain, but one thing is clear. This is a story we're going to be following for a long time. So what do you think about the U.S. debt crisis? Share your thoughts in the comments below. And if you want more economic insights and analyses, be sure to subscribe to our channel.